Still looking for 165. 161, looking for 165. Got 165. I got 165, looking for 170. 165, looking for 170. 165, looking for 170. I got 165 going once. I got 165 going twice. Sold for 165. There it is. 165.
Welcome to Artipoeus, reviews and recommendations of contemporary art around the world.
So my name is Sophia Domagala. I'm from Berlin. Grew up here, actually here around the corner in Schöneberg. My family comes from Poland, immigrated 30 years ago, about. I'm an artist. I'm working here and living here, as I said, and I do painting. And occasionally I'm organizing projects.
This week, Artipoeus is doing something a little different.
The idea was originally to just hand out 3 or 2 art pieces as an artist to this auction that sit in the dark, that never get sold again or never get shown because they kind of, in the past, they don't have really that much in common with what I'm doing in the present or the person is doing in the present, but there is still this nostalgic or sentimental feeling towards this art piece that you don't want to just give it away.
Normally on Artipoeus, we make sure to review art exhibits that will be open for a minimum of 1 week after we broadcast, just to give any local listeners or any art travelers a chance to visit the show. But this week, we were looking for something new. I was so disheartened and annoyed by the Berlin Biennale, both by the work I saw as well as the attitude of the curators and the artists, that I was feeling pretty cynical about young artists. Damn, kids, get off my lawn. I just really needed, as a friend put it, to see some good art. What popped up on my Facebook feed last week was an event titled 2 Artworks Sitting in the Dark. Artists and galleries and curators love a good title, and so do I, because in the beginning was the word. Organized by Berlin artist Sophia Domagala, she had asked local artist friends to donate 2 pieces of work that were maybe old or liked but not loved, or that just didn't fit in with the rest of the artist's work, the unwanted middle child. And she proposed to auction these off at a bar/gallery called Keith in Neukölln. The Neukölln neighborhood is Berlin's hipster hollow. Not my favorite place in any city, Berlin included. But I was curious, and cynical, remember? What would a young artist decide is not good enough to show? What pieces would a young artist hide in the dark corners of a closet? Would they actually be masterpieces? Or could they be actually worse than the stuff I've been seeing lately? So I went to this auction.
Well, there was 2 motivations really. My personal motivation was, it's all personal, actually. One motive was that I'm producing as I'm working a lot and producing a lot. I've got a lot of work sitting in my studio.
And this is dedication, ladies and gentlemen, because I went to this auction on the night of the Germany-Ukraine match in the European Cup. And if you know me, you know I love soccer, or football as they call it everywhere else in the world. And I was risking missing out on my beloved Mannschaft. But I figured I could take a quick glance at the crappy art, confirm my own bias, and still make the match before halftime.
Really moving my studio again in January. And I was already oh no, organizing the whole moving and having all these paintings. And I'm just feeling I have so much weight as an artist. I'm in my work, I'm kind of right now thinking more about how to be economic and how to produce art pieces that are not that spacious anymore, and I just want to get rid of this weight in a way, these massive canvases, stretched canvases. It's just something that it's overdone,
The work was good. I mean, really good. It was honest and real and not trying to be clever. It was just good art. Expressive, intelligent, sincere. Some playful, a portrait of a red-faced demon man, some whimsical hands, a photograph of a sleeping beard. Some serious, 2 pieces in primary colors and simple shapes, kind of an evolution from Matisse, of children and relationships and awkward situations. A silver-on-blue abstract piece that looked like shattered rain. A red-on-white companion piece that looked like lace of blood. Mixed media and collage that smashed together ukiyo-e and graphic design in surprising, subtly feminist ways. Who were these people? And why weren't these artists in the Berlin Biennale?
So I was just like, well, I'm just going to organize, it was just spontaneous. I'm just going to organize this art event and invite friends over to join me, you know? Because I know a lot of artists having the same trouble probably. So I did that. And then I started thinking about this idea of also how these days, I don't know, I can't really say it on a global way, just for Berlin, but I feel something's weird is happening with the artists right now, like the young artists, and I miss something, like I miss a little bit of emancipation, a little bit of freedom, a little bit of energy.
It was the second half of the auction I actually stayed for. People filed back in, drinks in hand, chatty, cheery, and ready for round two. The bids were affordable, the bidding was friendly, and even the pieces that didn't sell got a round of applause. I found the organizer, Sophia Domagala, and asked her for an interview. We sat down a week later on a very rainy Friday in, I think, the slammiest cafe in Berlin.
I mean how the artists or young artists behave, really. Like how they always want to do the right thing, you know? How they do art school, how they apply for the right scholarships, how they go to the right places, how they dress in openings, how they just stand there and hope that something's happening, how everything is, how artists start to behave, so they want to appeal to someone, so they want to go do the right thing.
So it's less about individual expression and more about being likable.
Yes.
And sellable.
Yeah, and sellable. And getting into this, making that step into the market and making money. I don't want to, that's maybe something that we all need, you know, and I'm not anti that. Because I want to also sell my work. But in general, I feel I miss this energy of like freedom and just doing whatever. You don't care, you go, and this is the motivation about this auction. You go and you join, you don't care about like the gallery that tells you, well, your price is this and this, you know? So you can't do this right now. Like just, all these things, restrictions. And I feel I've experienced it that I've invited people, I invite way more. And I have the feeling it's not per se, but I have the feeling that a lot of people don't want to join because they're afraid of it. You know, they're afraid, like they don't want to join the auction, for example.
You think it's going to hurt their market price?
Yeah, it's going to hurt them. It looks weird. It's something that you don't do. You wouldn't do, because it's not cool. It's not the thing. And this is something that I'm starting to realize more and more. So I want to do it even more.
This is an edition 3 of 3. This one's 20 by 30. It's a Hahnemühle Barita print. It's 35 euros. Do I see 35 euros for this Valerie Schmidt? Can I get 35 euros?
What I think as well the auction is doing, it creates a group, it's a very social event. And art in the end is something about communicating. It's a very social thing in itself because it brings people together and in the end it creates something new, maybe new ideas and it's inspiring. And I think this idea of having a group where people are doing not against each other, where there is not like one individual, it's just not everybody's against everybody because I have to do this and I have to do that, but we kind of like come together and we do something and we let it go, without restricting ourselves into something that we're afraid of for the future, like just be in the present, And I think art is very much about this in the end, like you're creating something that is worth for the present.
I got 100, give me 110. 105? I got 105. I got 105, give me 110. I got 105, give me 110. I got 110. But 110, give me 115. Got 110, give me 115. I got 110 going once. I got 110 going twice. Sold for 110. Very good. Very nice. Very nice.
When you hang on to something so tight, this idea, in this case, an idea of my future market value, you restrict your own form of expression.
Yeah.
Whereas art as a form of expression is really about the moment and not about investing in the future.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is one thing, but that's
yeah.
That's just...
And also, like, you know, how, I don't know, I mean, it poses then all of a sudden when I think about that, it's just so many questions, you know, like what would be that if we would continue behaving that way, or if we would always, like, just try and restrict ourselves and try and appeal, like, what would happen with the art, like, you know, what would happen, what's then art in 50 years or something, like, it's going to be fucking boring.
25. I got a bid for 25. Is this one going to go on my wall too?
Portrait is always hard to sell.
It's a self-portrait, as you can see. So I got a 25. I got 30. I got a 30 euros. I got 30. Can I get 35?
I don't really feel that I'm, like, making a big choice of artists, and I don't curate this, you know. I don't say, okay, I want this artist, and then these pieces, please, and this, you know. It's because it's not about that, because then I would probably be a little bit hypocritical towards what I've just said before, you know. Like, I have to be, like, also transparent and open. Maybe then there's some shit pieces, and then there's some good pieces, and it's all, you know, but that doesn't matter in the end, you know. I mean, 50% that came for the first hand, they were not even thinking to come back home with an art piece under their hand, you know, like, they were just like, wow, what the hell just happened, you know. I'm just like, I lost 100 euros, but I have this crazy painting right now. I'm bringing home, so that was very funny. No, that's Ken. He's awesome for that job.
We're going to go back to Patrick's other one, which is that red face there at the end. Patrick, is there something special about this one? Is this one have something on the backside?
No.
No? Have you peed on this? Or
Yeah.
Yeah, you did pee on it. This one has actual Patrick pee on it, y'all. This is what makes this one special. That green shit behind that, not paint. All right.
And you let the artists set their own prices on the value of their work. So this auction that I saw, there were a few pieces that were quite expensive, like the 650 euro piece was one.
Yeah.
What's the least amount that someo's ever
Zero.
said? That's hard to bid on, zero.
Well, then, you know, for example, what happened to one piece from Zoe Miller was just she set it on zero, the snake, like there was this snake, and then already someone before the auction even started bid on it for 50 euros. Like he said, okay, I buy that, and so it was already on 50 then, which made it look really good.
Are they mostly the artists buying work from each other?
Yes, this time it was very much. Last time I had the feeling that there was maybe 80% artists in the crowd, and then 20% just others, which I found really cool. Like, that's kind of like a thing, because I don't know, because as a young artist you would never go into a gallery. I mean, can't afford like €5,000 piece, you know, or something. So it's kind of like affordable for everybody, and everybody is just a win-win situation.
But then if everyone kind of it seems like everyone kind of knew each other. But then why don't they just trade artworks?
Which we do a lot as well. Like, we do that all the time. But it makes it more special. I don't know, because trading art, you know, we do that. But right now, then it's kind of nice to just have the idea of, just for me, like, for example, I bought one from Philippine, and just like, wow, I bought an art piece from Philippine. You know, it makes it all different than.
It does, though, doesn't it? When you actually buy art. Well, yes. I mean, you're an artist, but as an art lover, when you buy art, it's like, this is something that I really believe in, because I'm willing to give money for it, and I've helped this person and let them know I believe in them, and I've made an investment, and that makes me feel good.
Art is in general too expensive, so it's just for people who can afford it, and most people can't afford it, and it's just a pity.
I'm guessing we're not going to sell this for $650. That's what it looks like. So I'm guessing we're just going to move past it. All right. That one's not going to happen. Sorry, Alex.
I saw some work in there that was really amazing. It's a lot of the work was really amazing, but a few of the pieces I came expecting it to mostly be crappy. Mm-hmm. You know, like it also partly because of the title of the auction. You know, like I thought it was more like the discarded artworks, and I was curious to see what artists reject as being bad and how bad it really was. So I was really expecting like most of it to be kind of awful. And I was really, really blown away. That's actually why I wanted to talk to you, because I was like, oh, this isn't what I thought it was going to be at all. And some of it was just, I mean, it's all subjective, isn't it? But to me, it was really phenomenal. And had I not been standing there recording, I would have been bidding.
Yeah.
So I was really torn by that, you know, because I was like, especially there was a couple of pieces where I was like, oh, I really wanted that one. I was hoping it was going to sell, and then I could go later and be like, okay, I'll buy it now. Are you impressed with the work that comes in?
Yeah, definitely. Like last time now, I was really impressed. Mm-hmm. I thought it was really special. And then this is why afterwards I was rethinking the whole idea of like what I said in the beginning with the two artists, like changing the title. Mm-hmm. Because I feel they're too good. They were too good to be like, you know, have this line on top of them, you know?
Right.
So, and I was really surprised as well. It's really, yeah.
Does it make you want to keep all of it? Like, is there a part of you that's like, well, maybe no one has to know that this got submitted? Oh, we lost it. Sorry.
Maybe no, I wouldn't. Yeah, that would make the whole thing. But yeah, I was happy about the one that I bought. Because I knew that if it would have hung there, you know, would have hung there, it would have been way more expensive, and I would have not.
So I get 35 euros for this C print from Valerie Schmidt from 2016. Actually, her hand was up first. Sorry, 35. Do I get 40? Can I see 40? I got 40. Can I get 45? I got 45. Can I get 50? I got 45. Can I get 50? 45. Give me 50. 45. Give me 50. 45. Give me 50.
So who are the artists? They're friends of yours, but are they people are they with galleries? Do they exhibit? Are they at the beginning of their careers, at the middle, rising up, or?
It's a big mix, basically. And it started all like, I mean, now there was a part that I didn't know, like, because I also, like, when I write these invitations to the artist, I was asking them to give me recommendations of if they know an artist and that they want to, you know, recommend. Mm-hmm. So he or she is in the auction as well. Mm-hmm. And then there is a big range. Yeah, I mean there was Alex Müller, which had this most expensive one, and I think she is pretty established. Mm-hmm. And then there's other ones which just made their degree or still studying. And yeah, it's all in.
So there was one artist who, she has a Latin name.
Atalia Laufer?
I think it was her, actually. Her piece started, and then it kind of hit a ceiling, and there was nothing. And then nobody was making a move. And then Ken said, for those of you who don't know, she's got an exhibit here in the gallery next month. And then all of a sudden, like, there were 3 bids. Is that something that you're encouraging the artists to do, or is it to let you know, like, are there exhibits coming up? And because obviously that was a market moment, you know. Like,
in that case, I didn't do that. Like, that was maybe more in Ken's hand. I trust him and I let him do kind of what he thinks and say what he thinks is right. Of course, if he would say something that I'm totally against or something, you know, then I would do.
Yeah.
This is from Patrick. This is also an oil painting on canvas. This is somewhere, again, between 2010 and 2015. He's not exactly sure because he's drunk.
No, I was painting all the time.
While drunk, most of the time.
From this auction that I saw, how many pieces did you sell out of all of them?
I think there was 20 artists. There was about 50 pieces, maybe 40 to 50 pieces. I didn't count, to be honest. I think most of them got sold, but like maybe 3 or 4 pieces.
Right. After the auction is finished, then how do you arrange things with the buyers and the sellers?
I was writing down the contact always, going around and just getting the contact of the name and the email address. So actually the artist can contact the buyer.
Oh, okay.
It's not the other way around. So the artists have the control of what's happening.
Or what was the best moment that you witnessed?
That everybody is having a good time. It's really like, I think that's the best about it. That people are just relaxed. They're not having like this awkward feeling, like, you know, in the white queue. It's just all normal, and it's very grounded. There is something very easy about it, and I like that. And in both auctions, I had that feeling afterwards that people were happy. They're coming to me and they were saying like, "Wow, it's amazing," and it's just, you know, it was like kind of like a good thing.
I saw a couple of bidding wars between people once or twice, whereas it got down to only 2 people bidding, like even just €1.
Yeah. And this is also a really good moment.
Yeah.
When of these moments we had, like in the first auction, you know, you can't really, like, it happens how it is.
No, 160. No, 160, give me 165. 160, give me 165. 160, give me 165. I got 160. I'm looking for 165. 160, looking for 165. 161. 161. I got 161. I'm looking for 165.
In the first auction, it was more of these bidding moments where people were just really like, you could see that they were fighting over this art piece. And then there was like this, at some point, you know, there is a limit which just got painful for one person and then just didn't, you know, and it was really like this, I really wanted to have that, you know, it was really like this energy, and really everybody had just like had these red faces, and
Right.
it was really exciting. Yeah.
Do you think that affects friendships?
Well, no, it shouldn't.
No,
it shouldn't. Like, I think, I mean, it's not about that. You know, I think, I don't know, if you, on one way or the other, if you kind of like want to stay still professional, you just keep it that way. You know, it's good.
Yeah. The higher price pieces, which was unfortunate that they didn't sell, especially because the Alex Miller was also meant to, half of the proceeds were meant to benefit a refugee center.
Yeah.
Which is really very noble. Do you think they didn't sell because it was selling kind of to other artists who don't have the cash to shell out for that? Or because in a way it's kind of, you have a very established artist who's selling something for much lower than they would sell in a gallery. So you have the opportunity to get an established artist's piece at a really affordable price.
Yeah, and then I feel it's for the artist as well to communicate that, you know, in a way that I can't, like, because I'm not representing her, you know, so I wouldn't ever like stand there and talk about her art and try and sell it to the people on her behalf, because I'm not a gallerist. That's not my job. So I think in this moment it's all in the hand of the artist, of like when, and this is what I thought maybe, because there was people asking beforehand, like knowing that she's wanting to have it for this price. And then it's just like, I guess it's all about where you stand, what your standing is, you know. And someone who just came out of art school, it's a little bit unrealistic to put an art piece there, although everybody wants to, for 500 or 600 euros, because you don't have the crowd like standing. And I thought with Alex Müller, it's like she's got a different standing, and maybe she would just invite her collectors or someone, you know, who for sure wants to buy that piece.
So what would be your dream moment of like the auction, or do you even think about that?
That maybe it gets, I mean, of course, you kind of like doing something like that, especially like also as an artist, that it gets understood in the right way, you know, that people don't misunderstand the whole idea, like they don't put it in a way that we're trying to make money or more making it, you know, something that it kind of gets that people more and more, and then for the next one I feel like I'm gonna put this message a little bit more across what I've just said in the beginning, that, you know, for us, it is on us, we have everything and we have the control. The artist should be in control of his own body of work, of what happens to him or her. Just understand that it should be a little bit more free and not so restricted by the market, and especially when you're young. I don't know, I think that's with a lot of things. I mean, I don't know, there's a lot of things that happened in the 60s and 70s where people just gathered together and they just made like all these like movements that happened, like fluxus, and it just goes back, you know, where artists were just coming together and joining and doing, you know, and being productive and not living for an idea to suit the art market, but for living to do art, you know. And I think that's something that is more something that I feel it's important. It's very romantic. It's kind of romantic.
It's kind of romantic. But it also, I mean, if you think about what you were saying before, new artists placing these restrictions on themselves because they want to be successful in the market. It's hard to develop if you're restricting yourself. So it's you have to express, I think, creatively, you have to express yourself fully before you can even start to kind of bring it back a little bit and then start to pare it down and say, you know, what am I saying really as an artist? But first, I think it's good to kind of just be everywhere and not be afraid to express yourself.
Yeah.
So, it's romantic, but I think it's also necessary, you know. I mean, I was in New York in the 80s and hanging out with artists on the Lower East Side, and, you know, a lot of them had been in Berlin in the 70s, and then they came to New York in the 80s, and they were really crazy, but they expressed themselves all over everything. Nobody stopped them because nobody cared about those parts of New York at that time.
Yeah.
So there were no restrictions.
I wouldn't, for example, I don't judge someone who's like selling his art through a gallery. I would never do that because that's the way things go. But like, I think more, it shouldn't be just about that, you know. And also, it should work together, the one and the other. And as I said before, it should be on us to have the control and just the freedom to join something like that and just have a fun and good night, you know, and just not to think about the whole thing all the time.
Right. But that's a really big shift from where things were in the 80s and the 90s. Do you have an idea of where that might have come from? Or?
I don't know how it was in the 80s to study at an art school, you know, and in the 70s. That's something like, you know, I feel like there was that I should ask my professor. He was in the 80s, like studying in Düsseldorf, and he was part of a big movement. I don't know how it affects, but it's all over, you know, like it's people, you know, it's like you can buy it everywhere. You can see it everywhere. There's all these biennials, there's magazines, and people are full of it, you know, and you don't even, it's just very present, I think. And it's a topic, It's always, because it's very competitive. It is a very competitive business. Yeah. And that's the other side of it, you know, of course. Yeah. It's not very social, sometimes it's very competitive. I'm not a painter in a classical way. Mm-hmm. And I'm painting landscapes and flowers and natural forms that I don't see on the outside, or not observations from the life. It's not a life drawing that I'm doing. It's more I observe things, and that's my way to draw them or to paint them. Like it kind of. I
looked at some of your work online, and it seems like you kind of managed to get at the essence of what it is you're seeing.
It is about the very, very start of things, of life, of coming together, of affecting one and the other. What comes together when there is two things coming? What's the third part? What comes out of, and then it grows. You know, it's all about growing.
Are you with the gallery?
No.
Do you have any shows coming up?
No, I had some this year, and I'm happy about these ones. I had one in Switzerland and in Vienna, a group exhibition, and a small one right now in Berlin. And I think it was all so exciting. And I'm like, oof.
And then the auction.
And then the auction as well, yeah. And I'm starting right now a new project called The White Shoulder. Similar idea of what the auction is, just a little bit different.
When is the next auction, do you think?
Maybe in 6 months, 5 or 6 months. I think in winter time again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So maybe you think this might continue as like 2 times a year?
Yes.
Kind of thing?
Yeah.
Summer, winter.
I think it's a good time. Yeah. It's a good cycle in a way.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be a different title. It's not going to be Artworks in the Dark anymore.
Will you invite the same artists?
No. Actually, I felt like there was already, some of them were already taking part 2 times. And I think it'll be nice just for the third one, just to have it totally fresh. Not going against the ones that already are there, because their art is amazing. But just to give it, a chance for other people.
Do you want collectors and gallerists and people to come?
I can't stop them. I can't stop them to come. It's not like I don't. I think it's it's a process that we are all in, and it happens as it is. But I want the whole frame that will not change to appeal them or to appeal someone, that will always stay kind of the same.
Right.
I wouldn't want to change that ever.
This is the second one. We'll do another one in a few months. Here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say thank you very much to Sophia. I'm going to say this is an excellent idea for us to be able to do this for people. This is really excellent, because we give all of the money to the artists themselves. We don't keep any of this.
The next art auction will be held in about 6 months here in Berlin. You can find Keith Barr on Facebook for updates, or follow Sophia Domagala on Facebook for more news and events. That's Sophia, Domagala, and Keith Barr, Keith Barr, in Berlin. And now you can follow Artipoeus on Glarify. Find out what artists and exhibits we're loving lately. Check out the Artipoeus favorites on Glarify, the interactive global mapping tool that lets you locate artist studios, openings, and exhibits around the world. Become part of your local art scene everywhere you go. It's free. Glarify is an official partner of Artipoeus. Visit glarify.com. The audio engineer for this episode is Joost. That's Jooste. You can find links to his work and more on our webpage. You can find Artipoeus on SoundCloud and iTunes, and you can see photos and read transcripts of this episode and more at artipoeus.com. Artipoeus, pronounced like octopus, because art is everywhere. That's all for Artipoeus this week. I'm Susie Kahlich. See you around town.